Hi, Maria back with another video, and I got my battery, so I thought I would go ahead and do another video. Today I was watching a video, and she was talking about how she was rethinking some of the tactics and the whole purpose and who's involved in the gang stalking, and it got me thinking because, obviously this is on my mind 24 hours a day. And so I was thinking of some of the things she brought up, and this isn't really a video response. I mean, it could be, but I'm just kind of thinking and making this video because, number one, I want to try out my battery, which seems to be okay so far, and I just wanted to make another video. Whatever. So anyway, she was saying that she disagrees with this being a depopulation program, and I'm going to say I agree with that because I do believe that I do suspect certain organizations are involved in the depopulation program, but I think those are, perhaps if that's true, that theory is true, then they're probably like way higher above, the common people who are actually, bickering and gossiping among themselves. So if there was a case of something like that, that's completely separate from this common gang stalking that we're dealing with. I do believe that the government, lower levels of government, do get involved in gang stalking. They're either turning a blind eye to it, which to me is just as bad, really, but some of them are actively participating in it, especially ones that are actually communicating and interacting with the rest of the community. So I do believe that. I don't believe it's a depopulation program, but I do believe that the end result is destructive. So maybe that's one of the reasons why some people might associate it with a depopulation program, because they basically cut off your ability to survive, okay, with the gossip, with blacklisting, with the multiple mind games, this sort of stuff. It can throw people into financial destitution, and then, of course, it also basically the financial destitution while you're living at home could result in you, losing your benefits if you do have benefits, or you don't have any benefits at all. The only benefit you do get is like, maybe what do you call it, unemployment. That runs out, and then you are going to be faced with homelessness, and you're basically facing a world that's very cold. You will be ostracized, and you will eventually die in a ditch somewhere. So it kind of is. So I can understand why some people would say, okay, yeah, it's a depopulation program. It is, but I wouldn't say it's the same level of that plan that what some people are suspecting. How they're talking about people putting certain chemicals in food, certain preservatives are bad for you, fluoride, these sort of topics that, I have myself dove into this topic, and I think it's something that, it's thought-provoking, and I do encourage you to read into it yourself. There's a lot of books out there, and of course there's shitloads of, YouTube videos covering this. So the topic of depopulation, separate thing, I agree. She wonders how certain issues, like isolated issues, that might, or certain encounters that might occur in stores, like, for example, you're a perp anyway, okay? But you go to, like, maybe a grocery store that you frequent or whatever, and you're interacting with somebody, because I'm going to tell you what, perps use all kinds of tactics to start to frustrate you, okay? So if you're wearing red shoes, you'll overhear them kind of like doing things like, undermining your shoes and talking about how another shoe is better. It's ridiculous, okay? But these are like little mind games that they like to play because they just want to get to you in any way possibly can. So if you're in, in a conversation with a person, and then you maybe walk down the street or something, or you just turn your back, okay? It's pretty instant. You turn your back, you go outside the door, and then there's somebody's talking about the same situation, or they're trying to harass you over the same issue. Because I'm thinking, okay, you didn't see this person doing any texting, you didn't do anything like that. They could have a camera on them, if you frequent a place enough, maybe they might have a little camera. I'm surprised at some of the small cameras that they have these days that are so small they might appear as a button on a shirt. That's a possibility, okay? I mean, I'm not saying it's the case, but I think it's a possibility. Also, aside from like isolated issues and those like special conversations that you do have, pretty much your entire community at this point is just ready to tear you to shreds, okay? The only thing that's keeping them in check is probably laws or whatever, but if they could tear you to shreds, they probably would, okay? They probably would. So your every environment, every interaction is going to be hostile, pretty much, for the most part. If not, you'll be just dealing with, indifference or whatever. But for that most part, I can't explain those incidents, the situation of having those little singular conversations, but I do know that it's thick enough, and eventually any interaction you probably have with a person is most likely to spread, okay? But I'm a little shocked at how quick it can spread sometimes, and it's an interesting point, but it could be the little cameras, you know. I'm thinking those could very well be in use. Paid perps. I don't believe that perps are getting paid for this, but I do in a roundabout way. For example, because this is a very close network, it's a network that's based on people that you know, your family, co-workers, you know, employers, all of these people who you come in contact with. Like I said, if you're a gang stalk, believe me, everybody you know is most likely involved in it, okay? So, like, for example, a person who harasses you when you go into a job interview, okay? They're paid perps because they're within that circle of a network, okay? And when you're in a network, people generally do favors for one another, okay? So they may not be getting additional money other than their regular job, but guess what? They're in the group, okay? They're in a group where they're accepted by this particular group. They're going to continue to work their job, and they may even be able to get positions that you're trying to get because of the hostility, okay? So I do believe that there are certain benefits that they're getting. Do I think that there's thousands of dollars being poured into this program? I really don't think so, because most of the targeting I believe that's taking place are usually employment retaliation type issues, issues relating to domestic stalking, these sort of things that happen, like, you know, among us commoners. Okay, so I don't really think that I don't think they're getting lots of money. Now, if, for example, you might have an idea, there was a lady on one of the YouTube channels talking about how she was the originator of the iPad or iPod. I forgot which one, but she was saying that, and I do know that they use some of the same gang stalking tactics. In that case, there is definitely money, if it's true, which I tend to believe her, that there's large money. I mean, look at how much money these people make, okay? So there's money to be made on some targeted individuals. Some targeted individuals, just like any inventor, people want to steal their stuff, okay? So that in cases like that, then yes. But in my case, I don't think large amounts of money are being shuffled around. There was a time where I thought that was the case, but, you know, and I don't know for sure. But I don't believe that targets are getting paid the way that a lot of people are describing them. And maybe they might be associated with a completely different issue. Maybe they were associated with a mob or something. Then, okay, then there's probably large dollars. But in my case, I think that this is just, you know, a very low level. I mean, it's a widespread level operation, but I think it's a very low level type targeting where, you know, businesses are getting involved, which they shouldn't be. And, of course, you have law enforcement because is involved, okay? Law enforcement, everyone. I mean, there is no place to turn to, which brings me back to the depopulation idea. I mean, it's a very devastating situation to be in. So they're being paid only in a way that they continue to get their job, and they are getting benefits, okay? They, like I said, they're a network. They're teaming up with other people. They're going to be able to easily get other jobs. I mentioned the girl at the agency who, you know, basically fucked me over, and she's already in another job, okay? As if nothing ever happened, while little Miss Goody Two-Shoes here sits here and works a shit job, which is one of the reasons why I wear black today, all right? Because, you know, people are saying, you know, and I do. I tend to pick out clothes based on how I feel, okay? That's one of the reasons why I love color. It's just so, like, it's special, okay? Black, I usually don't wear all black unless I'm fucked up in the head, and today I'm fucked up in the head because I really didn't fucking want to be there. I just had to say that. Thank you. Whew, anyway. Okay, following, there you go. Oh, also, yeah, perps already know what you do, okay? Like, I have a certain routine, you know, on the weekends, you know, so eventually I'll get down to a certain store, I'll run this errand, whatever, and they know you, okay? And because it's already spread, I do know, and I suspect that in my early targeting, well, I've been targeted forever, but, like, when the ball really started getting to roll, you know, is when I would go to this particular clothing store, and, like, people would just be, like, almost obnoxiously drawn to me, like, you know what I'm talking about, those weird religious freaks that just want you to, like, come to Jesus, and they're, like, trying to scope you out and ask you a bunch of ridiculous questions to see where you stand with the Lord. Yeah, I had to deal with that, okay, and it was just becoming more and more frequent, and it was deliberate, okay, they knew I was in there a lot, and then I would get, all these encounters, and people being overly nice, okay, you can tell something's wrong with it, but my point is that you're being followed around, okay, and eventually these people get in on it because they may either make phone calls, they may follow you in the store yourself, and they know that you have a pattern. I don't know exactly how they start it all off, but they start to know your routine, and the people at the store, we got to remember, you're being lied about, okay? We all know that gang stalking is basically filled with rumors, okay? So rumors, speculations, and stuff like that. And whatever the rumors are, they make it so that it seems like it's the most unforgivable thing in the entire world. But when you really look at your perps, you'll notice that, like, for example, in my case, I had a child out of wedlock, okay? I'm damn sure, and I know for a fact, that there are at least 3 perps who had children out of wedlock, who have somehow find it okay for them to be in that situation, but I'm being persecuted, okay? It's completely illogical, okay? Talking about people who run around and do all kinds of stuff. I know a shitload of slutty women who are perps, okay? So it's so bullshit, but the mentality, the herd mentality, and the loss of mental clarity makes these people just angry, and it's a form of scapegoating. It is, because they're basically either projecting their bullshit, and people just want to be pissed off anyway, okay? I personally think that just every man is basically a murderer, and they're just looking for any reason to just go off, and basically that's the case. So it's already heated when you get out there. So disagree with government involvement. Like I said, I do believe that the lower level governments, local government gets involved in it. Perhaps even like some of the people who hold state positions, possibly, and I suspect Dianne Feinstein knew good and well what was going on, okay, because I contacted her for a very, very, very long time. And sometimes, in this case, I'm starting to get a clearer picture of this. I understand, saying that, your family is involved in it, and their older sister, they can all hear older sister, blah, 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 and sometimes they'll grant authority to these people. There's no authority there, okay? These people have no rights over me. But it's just another form of mind control, and obviously certain people in the government are not immune to being controlled in their mind, which is really crazy to me, because I'm going to tell you that I think a leader should have certain qualities, okay? And I think leaders should always think objectively, and they should also think what's going to be the best and most beneficial for everyone involved, okay? Obviously, my rights were completely trampled over, and it's all TIs. Lives are trampled over, the rights are completely gone, out the window, and you're left being basically a nomad with no place to go. But a wise leader of any position, that's what leadership is about. That's why you're in these offices, right? Your leadership is about taking control and having an understanding of working within certain guidelines so that it's fair for everybody. And sadly, just like everything else that seems to be crashing, people are getting fat, the economy is going to shit, and this kind of stuff, and people's, ability to use basic, simple reasoning skills are just going out the window, okay? So these people are no different, okay, which is really sad. I mean, we need to start finding better stock, of people to hold these positions, at least I think, okay? But anyway, those were my thoughts, and I hope this camera, this battery serves me well, because Maria's like super hella cheap right now. Christmas is coming up, and I have no money for Maria. So we all know why, because it's those goddamn perp's fault. So I just wanted to say that, because it makes me feel good. Have a good night. Bye-bye.